Welcome to Double Emuna Tuesday. We have the opportunity to go ahead on our 84th Emuna class. I get such a simcha, joy from being able to continue this journey together, growing in Emuna, and especially on this Tuesday. If you hear a little bit of an echo, it's because we have Dr. Benjamin Klempner in the house. Hello. So our Facebook live feed is also on Instagram, as well as Please God, our edited version, which will one day go live. We're waiting on our wonderful team to be back from the holiday, thank God. And we are now in the studio with amazing vessels all around me. We'll call them holy instruments of old, a gong, and I'm sure our guests will do a better introduction. It's going to be exciting to see the energy and the music and the sound. That's the focus of healing sound, and we're going to go into that together. Thank you for coming all the way from Tiberias, Dr. Klempner, and we've posted his link below for you guys to reach out and have direct connection to him and benefit from his healing sounds. This is all with a recommendation of our good friend and guest many times, Yosef Daniel. Yes, you know Yosef Daniel, special soul, who's also contributed many times to our class in person, on Zoom, and all the different ways, as well as sending one of our other most attended guests, Dov Halperin, who was last week's guest. We're going to go into our Double Emuna feedback Tuesday vibes, as well as Emuna class QA. We wish Rav Shalom Arush himself would be here in person. We're continuing to pray for Rav Shalom Ben Yamna, and we are excited that we have a lot of good news potentially. We just need one more final confirmation from the team here, and please God, we'll be going on a Emuna tour to the US and to the UK. Finally, we had the hosting options, and we'll announce that a bit more later on in the class. Okay, so let's go into some feedback before we go into our special guest, and remind everyone we're dedicating this class to the full healing of the Rav, as well as Tila Rivka Bas Masha, Chana Bas Frida, Chana Liba Bas Simcha, and also the elevation of Gedaliah's son, Yerachim Ben Gedalia, and we hope to be joining here, his father, his holy father, in the US when we come there, and doing a class together, which will be announced at the right time. We're wishing everybody also a good week, a Siyam to Menachem Av to Elul days. We're all so close now. Elul, Rosh Hashanah, can you believe it? Uman Rosh Hashanah, and healthy, energized summer days of Emuna, sharing Emuna global all. This is our tagline, and we now go into the feedback. Thank you. Shalom, you wrote. Great. Toda Rabba, Ari Lesser. Be here now. He did a class, song called About Being Present. Be here now. So that was a very nice song that we put up. And the Rav was smiling there. Someone wrote, groovy greatness, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for this weekly content. Someone else wrote, it's really inspirational. That descriptive journey of the soul experiencing things for the first time is so beautiful. So I did like a whole class, and that was last week's Double Emuna class. And it was about the second part of the class about the soul's journey, what it feels like, say, for about tshuva, which you'll relate to, someone who's coming from outside, like myself did, and experiencing their first Shabbos, and how the soul, and obviously we all had Shabbos growing up, but not like the full Shabbos. We didn't have Shmira Shabbos Kochosa, we didn't have the full, experience of davening and Kabbalah Shabbos, and all the jewels and treasures that Shabbos offers, of sitting at a table without any, malachas, without any distractions, completely connected into the energy, and what does the soul experience for those first moments? The joy, the Gan Eden
of Shabbos. I'll never forget my first Shabbos
experience. But what's interesting, as I try to depict, was based on a Purim spiel that someone acted out. What would the soul feel? Imagine, try to get into the experience of what the soul was experiencing those moments, not just us on a conscious level,
cognitive level. I never thought about that before.
It's a nice thought.
What's the soul?
So that's what someone wrote back. They really enjoyed that descriptive journey of the soul experiencing things for the first time. It was so beautiful. Thank you. That was my previous week's class. Thank God you can join me, everyone, 3:30 in my home studio, and we'll be going ahead with the New Light. Got a few more, if you don't mind taking it. A New Light, a few more chapters. Thank God this is a special book, and we'll keep that teaching going viral, please God. That's the kind of viruses that we want, and that reminds us we should all be saved from all those viruses, including those who promoted it. And another thing, we want to give thank you for Dov Halperin's previous class. Someone wrote, great class, loved all the songs, especially the smile one. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, we all need to smile more. That's something I can work on big time. Let's smile a bit more. Emuna is our future has been a big deal for not being able and available balance in the early economy in the United States right now. So it's true.
Can I just interrupt you
sure.
for a moment? I just learned
Sure.
2 days ago about smiling. And smiling actually releases endorphins and dopamine and serotonin and all these great chemicals that we generally in our society don't have enough of. And smiling reduces blood pressure, slows the heartbeat, protects increases the what's it called, the
volume up a little bit.
increases our resistance to disease. So much just a smile. The best medicine is just an ear-to-ear smile. Even if we're faking it, we got to fake it to make it.
MS. So I'm really trying to work on it. And the Rav always says, when it's a shame he's not here, but he comes in and he says, Eli, smile. It's one of the first things he always says to me. He wants me to smile. The Talmud Rebbe also says a similar thing. The importance of joy, and that's one of the points that we're going to discuss in our next class as well. Emuna is our future with living with joy. How can we go to Elul with joy? Because Elul, everyone gets a bit nervous, scared, the new year, Yom Adin, but really it has to be a day of simcha. Chedvas Hashem hi azevchem. So we have to get ourselves into the smile mindset. So thank you for that. So that's what someone's saying with the challenges right now in the current world, that we need these kind of classes. Thank you very much. Rudy's clips are really powerful. Unity focus. Keep sharing and come again. Dear Rav Shiner Shlita, Rav Elazar Shiner, we want to give a special thanks to him and also a message of comfort. The family, Rav, Rabbana Oresh, on behalf of Chutz Chesed, Rabbonim, team staff, and many fans and friends would like to honor your dear mother, righteous wife of Harav Hagon, Reuven Shiner Zatzal, Ben Rav Shmuel, Yom Tov Zatzal, Mosa Nefesh for Torah, B'nai Torah, including all our trips to America have been a big part, and the Uman experience. Contributors of kindness, so many worthy causes, sending love, thoughts of comfort, prayers to you and your family during this difficult time. Amochim mirachem etchem b'toch shari avle Sion v'Yushalayim. Amen. Okay, so everyone, we should wish the Shiner family comfort and long life. Thank you, Hashem, for what you've given us. We're going to go to our guests, sincere soul and smiling energy. And not only that, we're actually going to hear from him a level of connection that we've never heard before in our Emuna class 84. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
So let's go to our guest. Please introduce yourself.
Dr. Binyamin Klempner. And what to say, I was born in Washington, D.C., grew up at the age of 4, moved to Teaneck, New Jersey. A lot of people in Teaneck, New Jersey keeping Shabbos. I was not one of them. My parents didn't tell us about Shabbos. I didn't know. And eventually, just sort of through a spiritual path, my own spiritual path, wanted something real. And what I was witnessing didn't appear to me as real. So I went to Montana to spend some time with the Blackfeet Indians.
Wow.
And when I got to Montana, the first thing I did, I signed up for a program that was building playgrounds at local schools throughout the reservation, the Blackfeet Indian reservation. And I knew that I needed a mentor, a spiritual guide. So I found somebody on the reservation, Buster Yellow Kidney, John Buster Yellow Kidney. He was a Korean war vet who for a career worked for the FBI. Every area, every district has a federal agent. So he was the federal agent in Glacier County, and I spent a lot of time with Buster, learning about Chesed. It's interesting. This is Chut Shel Chesed, and Buster was not Jewish. Buster was just one of the Chassidim of the nations of the world. He really was.
The righteous people of the world.
He was one of the righteous people of the world, and his door was always open to people. People just came in. People he never saw before. Some people would come for 5 minutes and just check it out and leave. Some people would stay a few months and really get to know some of the Indian ways, and that's what I was doing. I stayed essentially a couple of years, and Buster from the start, and his son Don, Tiny Man Yellow Kidney, and if we had time, I would tell you stories about why his name is Buster and why
Wow.
Tiny Man's name is Tiny Man, and just all these wonderful stories about the people on the res.
What's our first thoughts would be correct? Like Buster was a big guy who busted people, or
Oh no, his name was Buster. He was a
Tiny
big guy.
Man was
He was a big guy.
literally tiny.
He had these huge hands, huge fists, and he was trying to break in a horse. And the horse, it was a young stallion, and it bucked and knocked him off. And he went to the back of the horse, big hands just punched the horse in the rear, and the horse dropped. And no one saw a man drop a horse like that before, so they nicknamed him Buster after that. And Tiny Man was a bit of a wild guy. I'm not going to get into. He was a petite fellow, but very tough. Very tough, and so he earned the name Tiny Man because no one on the res saw such a small person be able to so powerful.
Well, one of the things we mentioned before the class was the importance of tuning into real people, real connection, real authentic content. So let's
Tiny
go
Man,
there.
So Tiny Man, when I first met him, he said, you gotta go back to your people. You gotta go back to your people.
Said that straight away.
Straight away.
Wow.
He said there's 3 things you have to know. He said know where you're coming from. You're coming from a family. Your mother and father are your arms and your hands. Your brothers and your sisters, they're your legs and your feet. You can't go through life without family. You need family.
Wow.
Friends are good, but you need family. He said, know who you are as a person, and who you are as a person, first and foremost, is a Jew. He said he envies the Jewish people. He told me he envies the Jewish people because wherever we go in the world, there's a synagogue. And we have this beautiful reservation called the Land of Israel. And he really encouraged me, go back to your own tribal leaders. He said, I wish that I would know who our tribal leaders were 150 years ago. You know that King David was one of your tribal leaders, the greatest of all tribal leaders. And why are you wasting your time here with us when you should be teaching us? You are a Jew. You are one of a light to the world.
Yeah, being a Cohen, I'm a descendant from Aaron Cohen.
From Aaron Cohen.
You know, that's descendant from Levi, descendant Yaakov, Yitzhak, Avram, and it's a clear lineage that's been protected and looked after, and all the different places we've lived in exile, they've always looked after those facts at Kohanim, especially if you stayed within the Orthodox or United or wherever it was, you stayed within that realm. They documented everything.
They documented everything.
So then you get the hands on the after 120 on your gravestone, and it would be all the way back like that.
Wow.
The Birkus Kohanim. So that's what Spock, he got it from us, because he was a Cohen also.
Yeah, right.
Leonard Cohen. Leonard, not
Cohen.
Cohen. He's also Cohen, but Leonard
Nimrod,
yeah. Live long and prosper.
Yeah. And so so eventually Tiny Man pushed me. And he said, and he said that the third thing was to be. He didn't say to be a mensch. He said to be a man, to take a stand. He said back in the olden days of the Blackfeet Indians, a young man would want to venture out on his own, and he would stay. When the summer camp changed locations to the winter camp, a young man would stay put to hold his ground. And he said either one of 3 things would happen. Either one of 2 things would happen. He would die of the elements, or before that would happen, he would realize his mistake in abandoning his
heritage,
his people, and go back to the camp. He said, but instead of going back to his parents' camp, or tent rather, lodge they call it, instead of going back to his parents' lodge, which was a teepee, he'd build his own teepee, and they'd encourage him. He'd take a stand, and he'd find a wife and venture forth in the world with his family and with his tribal clan, but also on his own 2 feet. And so Tiny Man encouraged me, take a stand. You got to take a stand. First and foremost, stand on your own 2 feet and embrace your own heritage. He said to me, every white person who comes here to the reservation wants a prayer pipe. I know you want a prayer pipe.
Wow.
And I say, no, I don't. Wasn't a cool thing.
Other people want other kind of pipes.
right.
Smoking.
So I say, well, it was they would smoke tobacco and kitty canick. And I said, no, I don't. He said, no, you do. Be honest. But I have to tell you something. The Jewish people, they have something. He said, I'm sure the Jewish people have something equivalent to what we use as a prayer pipe. You got to find out what it is and start doing it. I found out. It's tefillin. Binding myself to the Eibishter, binding myself to the Borei Olam, to the one above.
Wow. Every
day we bind ourselves.
I'm sure it wasn't just like as you said those words and off you went to tefillin.
No. It was a journey. I called my dad and told him I want tefillin, and well, there was a conservative rabbi that would come once a month on a fishing. He was an avid fisherman, and he would come once a month on a fishing
exhibition,
on a fishing expedition. And we all became friends. There's not a lot of Jews in Montana, so we all became friends. Nice. And one day I said to him, I really want to experience an authentic Shabbos, and I want to learn authentic Torah. And he told me. Did
you look more like one of the?
I had a long ponytail. A long ponytail. I just started wearing a kippah. It was like a big, colorful, knitted kippah.
When I came to Israel, I also had a long ponytail, and I had one of those big Bukharim, knitted ones, and I had the earrings and everything.
Exactly.
It wasn't obviously dressed like this. I had like muscles and it was sleeveless top.
Right. I was wearing tie-dyed shirts and stuff, and Grateful Dead shirts, and that was my.
I was a bit hippie, but not. I was also not as well. I was like I was in all the crowds.
Yeah. I was in all of the crowds, but I was a hippie.
Stories. Yeah.
I guess I still am a hippie in many ways, but
now you're a holy hippie.
Sounds good.
So should we get to a little bit of music before we carry on the rest of the story?
Yeah.
Because it's just important that people tend to lose focus after a certain amount of time. So we really want to hear the sounds. So can you just introduce exactly, like take one thing and just tell us a little bit about it and then play some of it, and then we'll carry on a bit more your story, and then and also hopefully cover some other things that people asked as well. Because one of the questions was music and healing. How does that work? I mean, I think that's the right kind of question for this class. So whoever asked that, good job. Yeah.
So I'm just going to say quickly, just by way of introduction.
Yeah.
Hashem created the world. God created the world. He spoke and the world came into being. And he speaks continually. In every moment, the world continues to exist because God continually speaks the world into being. And that speech goes through contractions and contractions and contractions. And all the contractions can be viewed as vibrational. They're all vibrational until things become solid, until something that looks like a mallet, a gong mallet, becomes a gong mallet. And so our cells, from a molecular level to an atomic level, are all vibrating. So when we hear sound, the sound, more than just hearing with our ears, the sound is actually penetrating our cells and reorganizing our cells on a very, very fundamental level, and actually recalibrating us, grounding us, centering us in a way that really drugs and medications just don't do. There's not a lot of money to be made for pharmaceutical industries in a Tibetan singing bowl. If there was, everyone would be having a Tibetan singing bowl on their table.
Can you show
Yes. So this is a Tibetan singing bowl. Yeah. And I'm going to show you the larger one.
So you got that in Tibet?
Well, no, this is actually made in India by the German gong manufacturer Meinl.
Wow.
And I like it because when you're buying, well, for two reasons I like it. One is practical, one is spiritual. The practical reason is because it's made by the Meinl company, there's a lot of supervision and oversight in terms of quality, as opposed to buying it from who knows where, who knows what you're getting. Could be great, could sound awful. Second reason is because there is in a lot of these places that a lot of these instruments come from, there is a lot of idol worship. And I don't want to play an instrument that was used in any way, shape, or form
so you bought
for
this
idol
new
worship.
Completely.
So I bought this completely new by a German company that it's just, they're not messing around. They're a professional company, and
they're efficient.
They're efficient. Yeah, exactly. So so let me show you how this sounds with a few different types of mallets. So we have this mallet. It's going to make a very gentle sound. I'm going to use this mallet. This is a wooden mallet with a piece of goat hide wrapped around it. Produces a very nice sound as well. More of a clang. Just feel the vibration. Do you feel the vibration?
Oh.
Now there's another way to play these, and that is to make it sing, to make it hum. It's a real meditation, just listening to the sound. We all have hums inside of our bodies, our minds. Our brains are constantly humming with electrical impulses. Our bodies constantly humming with electrical impulses. The nerves, the nervous system is a humming system. And there's a concept that exists in sound called entrainment. And if I'm out of tune with myself, if I'm out of tune with my own inner vibrations, that's when I get sick. That's when disease begins. Dis-ease. But if I play a humming bowl, and just listen to the sound, the entrainment happens that my inner vibrations get entrained to the proper humming vibration of the singing bowl. And I can relax and feel grounded. When Avraham gave gifts to his sons by Ketaret, I believe these were probably many of the gifts that Avram gave to those sons who he sent to the east. So I'm just trying to bring those gifts back to the Jewish people, because Avram gave those gifts to help the Jewish people. His sons of Ketaret were meant to help us, and I'm just trying to reclaim some of those gifts that Avram has given to us.
From the American Indians into Judaism, how did you become aware of all these gifts? These sound gifts. I mean, it's beautiful. It really is.
How did I become aware? It's a good question. Music was always important to me. I always found healing in music, whether I was listening to the Beatles or Simon and Garfunkel. I always found healing in music. But I was not musical. And I tried playing guitar and I tried playing bass, but it just didn't really flow. Like our friend Joseph Daniel is a beautiful guitar player. It just, for some people, it comes natural.
Yeah.
It didn't flow. And I waited for an instrument. And just fairly recently, a couple of years ago, I have a son who needed a refuah, and I got an instrument, a very basic pentatonic scaled instrument that just makes nice sound whatever way you hit it, and just sort of it gave tefillah, it gave my voice, it gave my inner being an ability to pray, to articulate prayer to Hashem in sound. And prior to that, I was praying 3 times a day. My Hebrew is not great. I didn't really understand all of the words so well. And there's so much I just wanted to express, and words were just falling short of expressing that. And then when I would just hit an instrument like this.
This is the smaller.
This is the smaller one, yeah. It's a prayer. I'm praying to the Borei Olam. I'm expressing myself in prayer to God in a way that I just cannot express myself in words. I should have brought my Native American flutes as well.
Oh, I would have loved to see.
Oh, I should have brought them as well. I'll have to come back and just play native flute. Yeah. But it's such a gift to be able to pray and meditate without words. So often we meditate even, but our meditation is full of words. It's full of words. Just we're verbose in our meditation to the point that we're not even meditating anymore.
Yeah.
But true. When we just meditate, listening to a very simple sound, and remember, when Eliyahu Hanavi, when Elijah the prophet went out into the midbar, into the wilderness, there were great noises. There was thunder and the earthquakes and huge noises, and then a still thin sound. And this is where he found his connection to Hashem through a small, still sound.
Yeah, relate to that. It's beautiful. It's from our Nevi'im, our prophets, And we have to tune, in our generation, we have to learn how to tune in. And one of the things we hope that the Emuna Tour, when we go away, with all the bahala, all the balagan, all the noise that comes when you travel and this and that, the real key is to tune into the ability of spending time with a tzaddik, a righteous person, who is in tune with that still voice, and is able to just stop time for a moment and be totally present, like be here now, like focus and live that, and to take us into that realm. The people in Brooklyn, the people in New York, hopefully the people in the UK who are meritorious, to bring him to have that time with a person. Because as much as we try putting stuff online and you see the rabbi speaking and you see but it's a whole different level having that in person, because then you tap into the authentic voice and the real person that's within, the soul that's within.
Yeah.
Soul level.
And the role of the tzaddik is the tzaddik is in touch with that still sound, and through connection to the tzaddik, we become in touch with our own still sound, our inner still sound. And that's what each of us, whether Jew and non-Jew alike, this isn't just, I know that many people who listen to your show are not Jewish. This isn't exclusive to Jews.
Yeah, this is universal.
This is universal. This is about humanity coming closer to godliness. Godliness. The Jewish people don't have a monopoly.
Well, that was the next question. Oh. Someone wrote, "Is the world ready for the universal lessons of Emuna that the Rav Shalom Arush and the Garden of Emuna and all the Rabbonim and staff teach? Are we ready as a people, or live, even more important, I'll be ready as a people to assist in God's mission of being a light unto the nations. Practical tips where to begin. Like, have you got experiences where you were able to go back to those people that touched on you, like Tiny Man, or even like through, you know, an email or some? Have you reconnected with those souls, but now like as a light unto the nation message, even though they've got their light and their message, but they told you to go back to your light. They also, in a way, in a deep way, one of the reasons we spoke about this with a class of Abiabalo, the nations are upset with us because we're not shining that light. They want that light from us, and we're like, well, you're just busy making money or whatever. Why aren't you shining your special light that God gave you to share to the world?
It's a very touchy topic for me because I'm very sensitive to this. Because it's nothing to. We have a job to do. We have a job as Jewish people. So I try very hard to maintain. What's the word? Conversation, right? To keep conversations going. Once I start a conversation, I try very hard to keep that conversation going. So I have professors from university who were so impressed to have a Jew in their class, and I've tried very hard to just keep, every now and then, even calling those professors if I'm going for a walk in the woods and I have it's quiet and that person comes to mind. Oftentimes I'll just take out my phone and I'll call them. And I don't preach. I'm not a preacher. I don't preach.
No, we don't.
That's not what we do.
No.
But what I do is
it's sharing light.
We share the light. And how do I share the light?
If they tune in, they tune in. If they don't, they don't.
Exactly. If they tune in, exactly. And I share the light. For instance, I have one professor. I'm not going to mention his name. He never married, never had children. And I sent him photographs. He's not Jewish. I sent him photographs of my children. And with their payas and their kippas, and the girls with their long, modest, snoot dresses, and he just loves it. He loves it. He adores it. I'm in a 12-step program as well, and a lot of the I'm one of the few Jewish people in this particular 12-step program. And I send pictures of my kids to the people and my friends in this fellowship, and they just love it. They love to see the payas of the small boys and the modesty of the girls. So it's just sharing the light.
Well, I'm happy you are open about the fact you're connected with the 12-step world, because that's something we've brought here many times and discussed it. We've recently, a few weeks ago, we had a member from the AZ House. I don't know if you've heard of it, the AZ House Jerusalem.
Yeah, sure.
So we're doing a concert with them. I've helped
Nissan Black.
I've helped organize it with Nissan Black, and DJ Hudacris has also been a guest in our. Both of them have been guests in our studio.
His father's one of my closest friends.
Oh wow! So they're both going to be performing there with a mentalist. And it was a shame you can't come and just calm everything down, because generally his energy is very high level energy. But the goal is to show support towards the recovery world, because we're not obviously charging full price, and we're giving them support by promoting it and bringing our time and energy towards their program. And also they're one of the main people from them came to our studio and discussed and spoke about his journey, and that was Sam Weisler. And obviously Gedalia Fenster, we just posted a class last night, and always posting stuff from Gedalia, because he gave a class on dealing with pain and addiction, and in New Jersey, and with the Asulin family, who are a famous Breslau family. And he gave it over there, and we just put it up on our site last night. I actually did it like after midnight in my own time. Wow. Nothing to do. No one was paying me for it. I just saw he posted. I'm like, we got to share this, make sure it's on our platforms as well, get it out there even more. And his message of recovery and facing your issues is such an important. And I always find that recovery people are on a different wavelength. They're vibrating at a different level, where they're tuned in to the real message of life, and not this like show, because they've already done that before. They've escaped. Whereas a lot of people are able to still function and never really expose the show that they're in. And therefore they're not truly real.
rigorous honesty.
Yeah, that is it.
Rigorous honesty.
Yeah, that's it. That's the point that really shines forth. And that's something that we want to be connected to in our Emuna class. We don't want to put on a show, you know.
In fact, my first time on the Blackfeet reservation, I felt this huge spiritual energy, and I just attributed it to their being American Indians. Years later, when I got introduced to the 12 Steps, I realized, well, a lot of those guys like Buster Yellow Kidney and Tiny Man Yellow Kidney, they're working their 12-step fellowships real seriously.
Wow.
And a lot of that spirituality wasn't necessarily Blackfeet spirituality.
Wow.
It was 12-step spirituality.
Wow.
And I was like, wow, this is
amazing.
Yeah.
So it definitely is a global part of the world recovering from all its addictions, and that's another big way that people should have the vessel to absorb the light. So that when we're talking about the new light, they should have the vessel to be able to absorb it. I just want to mention one or two things before we get back to the sounds, because I think we're going to spend the rest of the class just exploring all your instruments. I'm just going to announce officially that we haven't yet confirmed, but we will confirm, please God, the 4th November in Brooklyn till the 6th, 7th, moving to Muncie with the Rav of Shalom Morish of November, coming back around the 14th, 15th. And that would be an opportunity. You can connect to me, Eli.Goldsmith at breslov.co.il or Emunalive.com. You can partner there, make meetings with the Rav. Already we've got a few people who have already, before we've confirmed, even donated and requested their time with the Rav. And that's something which we offer. Another point that we want to mention is UK. Very happy that people have now opened their homes and offered hospitality there already without reaching out too much. And that's amazing, and we'll hopefully be able to bring to all these tours of Diane Elgrod, myself as the MC, of Diane Elgrod as the translator, and the Rabbanit to help with all the Svarim and the sons as well, to assist with that, and do Kabbalah's Kal meetings, and also hopefully some very big classes with Gedalia Fence and other surprise guests to be announced. Teaneck reached out, might do something in Teaneck, and something in the Carnegie Hall. That's a big announcement. If we can pull that off, they're very special. There's probably a lot of good vibes there from all the excellent music over the years. You know, there's also, I believe there's a vibration in a place.
There is.
We've had music here, so hopefully that vibration is here as well. You know, we've had a lot of guests, musical guests, who we hope to have come again. We hope for future classes, now that the camping season is over, to bring people like Judah Michelle and other wonderful people. We haven't given up, and we hope, please God, that there'll be a renewal, that we'll have the full studio team, so we don't have to have me busy with the cameras. It will be the full honor that this kind of class, and when you come back next time, maybe we'll have the whole team inside there, and the Rav will be here, and the full experience. In the meanwhile, this is Double Emuna Tuesday. It's a big strength of showing we're going ahead. I want to thank all of you listening, and now let's just tune in to the rest of the class. So Dr. Ben Yamin Klempner take us on his journey of sound, vibration, sound. What's the name of the website?
Soundsymphony.net.
Soundsymphony.net. You can check it out. Links below. Let's go off into the vibrations, the healing vibration journey.
Cool. So, would you like me to explain a little bit more about the instruments?
Or instruments just play? And play. Everything.
Instruments and play.
Both.
Okay.
Yeah, do both.
So I'm gonna. I told you a little bit about these instruments, the Tibetan singing bowls.
Wow.
Now I'm going to tell you about this. This is just a nice sound. It's a Koshi Chime. It's called a Koshi Chime, and it's handmade in France, in southern France, near the mountains in southern France.
Wow.
And
I thought it was from Japan or somewhere.
Yeah, it looked with the bamboo, but yeah, it's a French instrument, and it has little tines inside the bamboo, metal tines.
Do you think they picked it up on their trips in those in the East?
Yeah, this actually is a really unique instrument. I've studied instruments all over the world, and this is really unique to southern France.
Oh.
Yeah.
I actually studied music at university. I remember vaguely going through all the alternative instruments in the world, and a lot of the Eastern instruments are still discovering, and there's still so much, and also South American, and there's so much instruments that we're still only touching and starting to learn about.
So many. The mountain range. The mountain range is the Pyrenees. Yeah. The Pyrenees mountain range. And it's just very soothing.
Oh.
Is the mic picking that up?
Yeah, sure.
Great. It just sort of changes. We could be very anxious, and we start hearing this, and it's sometimes at home when things are getting wild, the kids are getting out of control, I'll pick it up and start playing it for myself. I don't know if it helps the kids to be any calmer, but it helps me as a father and as a husband to be calmer.
They say the main person that needs the medication nowadays, they're giving all this stuff to kids nowadays, is really the actual parents and teachers. They
Absolutely.
Need to, so if you can do it without medication, like through sounds and natural resources, probably much better and no side effects. You know?
Absolutely. In fact, a lot of teachers, a lot of school teachers are starting to have bowls in their classroom like this.
Wow.
And when the kids are getting a little bit rambunctious, and it's hard to get wound up when you hear such a sound.
The problem is, like with the Hollywood movie world, it always like showed some Bond villain, like would be the guy have these kind of things. Or
Right.
It's always some very like scary person. It's never like someone you'd be like wanting to be as a role model. Like the hero was always too busy. You know?
Right.
So it's good that we can change that.
We can change
narrative.
the paradigm.
Yeah,
We can change the paradigm. So this is a sea drum. I don't know if you could see the little balls, little metal balls inside. And the camera can see these little metal balls. And it sounds like the ocean. And the first things we hear, with our ears are one of the first things in the womb to be developed, our sense of hearing. And this sounds like a mother's breathing, or a mother's talking. The sound of the ocean sounds like the breathing and the speech of our mothers when we are inside the womb. So that's one reason they say why it's so relaxing to hear ocean sounds, because it brings us back in utero to our mother's womb.
How did you like learn to play these? Like have the sensitivity to?
A lot of it's just intuitive. You just pick it up and you feel the instrument, and the instrument tells you how it wants to be played. The instrument tells you. If you listen to the instrument, it speaks to you. Tells you how to play it. Not like a guitar. You couldn't do that with a guitar or a violin.
There are some people.
I guess so, yeah. So it's just that intuitive knowledge of just hearing. And
I grew up with a friend of mine. He never had a lesson, nothing, and he could learn play any instrument and play it amazingly with his ear and intuition. And he wrote the most unbelievable songs, and he never released anything.
Wow.
We have a few like rough copies of. I have him playing I have a song called Sunflower, which I wrote for my wife. I went into his house one time and recorded it on like an old school like MP3 thing or whatever, and he was playing that piano. What's it called? Where it's the jewels or something?
I don't know.
It's like it's more like there's a very cool sounding piano. Like he had one of those at that time, and it was so cool. And I still have it. It's on SoundCloud. It's called Sunflower. I've shared it a few times.
Well, I'd love to hear it.
And you see someone who's intuitive with music. It's such a beautiful sound, but it's amazing how someone with such talent just hasn't been able to share it, because the world always, to turn it into reality, you always have to monetize it. And
he's not interested in making a business out of his gifts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I struggle with it. We were talking about that before I struggle with it a lot. Just making a business out of the gifts that God gave me. And it's difficult because on one hand I have to earn a living. On the other hand, it's hard to charge somebody money for a gift that God gave me.
But you're healing people.
But yeah, I have to keep that in mind. It's very
and they show appreciation. They're probably happy to pay.
Yeah. Just before we began the interview, I got a phone call from from a woman who wanted me to come and play for her husband who needs a refuah. But I told her I can't. I'm in Jerusalem right now.
Well, hopefully we'll better bring you with Rav Vorish. Hopefully he will have a refuah. And if he's not had a full refuah, at least you can come and do this. While we'll bring him here. So next time I'll show him, and we'll be able to have you perform for him, and might be able to help with his healing process.
Nice. I want to stand, okay?
Great.
I'm gonna stand.
Yes,
So this instrument is called. It's a Ukrainian instrument. Ukraine, Estonia, Romania, Russia, and it's called a deva. And it is. I'm not really a math person, but it's. It has certain frequencies. I'm not a math person, so I don't even remember the name of the frequencies. But they say that it helps. The frequencies actually help to heal viruses.
Wow.
So it's very and fungus. It helps to heal viruses and fungal ailments, diseases. So yeah, very powerful. And what's interesting about this specific instrument was I purchased it recently from Kharkiv,
Nice.
which is one of the towns under bombardment right now.
Wow.
And what I liked about purchasing this instrument from
Is that anywhere near Uman?
it's about I'm guessing about 6 hours.
Yeah, Ukraine's big.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess about 6 hours, maybe more, maybe 8 hours.
Is it near High Ditch, near where the Banatanya, like up north?
No, it's
I've been there. Special.
It's more like 3 hours from 4 or 5 hours from Kiev.
Yeah, but where? South, west, east, north?
South, east.
It's more near Odessa then.
Nowhere near Odessa. No, it's near Belgrade in Russia.
Oh, okay.
It's right near Belgrade in Russia.
So right now they're being bombarded over there.
Right. So they're it's the second largest city in Ukraine.
Peace over there.
And they're being bombarded. God willing, this year, Rosh Hashanah, Uman, right? It's going to happen, right? There's going to be peace. There's going to be peace.
Yeah, the Rav's asking everyone to pray for peace and safe travel there, and people already decided they're going no matter what.
We gotta pray.
But Rav Orish is saying publicly that people should continue to pray. We read about it last week in the class from the Rav. He wrote out a statement and wants everyone to keep praying because it needs a lot of tefillahs for safety, and not just for the people there and not just the people visiting, but generally globally, because we shouldn't have it escalate.
We shouldn't have it escalate.
Yeah.
And just coming from a town of bombardment to have an instrument being made of beauty and peace is and healing is just what I love about it. It's then
Vibrated so beautifully. I mean, even the microphone, everything was going resonating.
Baruch Hashem. And last but not least is the gong.
Oh,
And the gong is just a remarkable instrument. It's this is the only gong I was able to bring today.
you have a lot more.
I have a lot more.
From China, yeah?
No, from Italy.
Oh, Italy.
And I specifically wanted gongs from Italy. And there's a reason for it. And that reason, oh, I'm out of the frame. Okay. That reason is because when we went into Gullus, a lot of those sparks, those netzitzos of Kedusha, went out with us. They were taken out by the Romans, and they were brought to Rome. Before that, when Yaakov...
And you see that on the Ark.
You see that, yeah.
Of Triumph, that big arch.
Yup.
In Rome. I've been there a few times.
But before that, when
Titus's arch.
Yaakov was approaching Esav, he approached with three things. He approached with the threat of war, gifts, and tefillah, and prayer. And Esav took the gifts that he was given and brought them back with him to Rome. So we have these gifts there. And what are these gifts? They're spiritual gifts. They need something to hold on to cling to, something of beauty. So a lot of those gifts, they cling onto, well, whatever it is, you know. So bringing a gong back from Italy, it's like, and I'm just making this up, obviously, it's my imagination. But in my imagination, at least, it's my hope that I'm bringing some of those sparks out of Italy, out of the hands of the Romans, and back into the hands of Am Yisrael, where we can use those gifts to heal the Jewish nation and the world as a whole. So that's really my goal in this, I think, is
Can we hear from it?
Yeah. My goal, my goal. I'm a peace activist. I've always been a peace activist,
Well, then you're in the right place, because our goal is also unity and Emuna, united souls. That's our goal also.
So I want to show you this wonderful little gong mallet. It's a Super Bowl. You don't remember Super Bowls? And it's a paintbrush.
Wow.
And I'm going to play it very gently, and hopefully you're going to hear the most wonderful sound. So many overtones, such a nice singing fundamental with so many overtones, so many different frequencies that, unlike any other instrument where you have really one frequency, with the gong, you have so many frequencies. So now should I play everything together?
Yeah, go. This is your show now, or event. Let's do it. Remember, everyone, Dr. Benjamin Klempner can be reached out at symphonysound.net. And thank you for joining Emunalive.com on our Double Emuna Tuesday, as we round off the class with some good vibrations, literally. Wow.
If you're watching this, you can close your eyes if you want, or leave them open if you want, whatever feels comfortable for you. You can focus on your breath if you want, or just focus on the sounds. So maybe put a gentle smile on your lips and focus on the smile while you listen to the sound. Right, Ellie, a gentle smile. Wherever you need healing, and you know where you need healing, we all know where we need healing. Focus on the healing. Listen to the sounds. And the healing can be for you, or the healing can be for somebody else. But focus on the healing. Focus on your healing, or your friend's healing. Focus on peace in the Ukraine.
Wish we could go on all day, but we have to end the class, unfortunately.
Oh,
It's so relaxing, so needed. I feel like a different person. I'm sure everyone listening agrees this is like another world. We'll have to bring the Dr. Klempner back to our studio and hear more about his story and his wonderful healing. You can check him out again on his site. Thank you for joining our 84th Emuna class. We'll see you next week, 85th one. Who's going to be here? I'm not anyone, I don't know. We'll find out. Going with the flow right now, especially after a class like this. And I'll see you at 3:30, guys. Thanks for joining, and keep sharing Emuna Global.
thanks for having me here.
Thank you so much. It means a lot.